This project is about the things we choose to remember and the things we choose to forget. It is about what happens to all the objects that we throw away.
Everybody makes waste, and everybody is happy not to carry about the waste. At the time it's in the bin, so don't think anymore about how it's going to be treated.
When we throw things away, we're led to believe that they just go away. The city facilitates this belief with regular collection schedules and strict rules prohibiting dumping. It means rubbish is publicly viewable for as short a time as possible. We are encouraged to forget about it. We are not meant to be confronted with our waste. At an industrial scale, Switzerland incinerates all of its municipal waste. This process is distributed across 30 waste-to-heat plants. Switzerland burns about 4 million tonnes of waste a year, some of which is converted to heat and electricity for cities. At the plant that services Freiburg, 100 trucks of waste a day come in to be burnt. This is about 350 tonnes. 3 trucks a day leave the plant with ash. This is 90 tonnes. These trucks drive 127 kilometres away to Beaucourt, where the ash is buried underground. Each year, this plant buries about 23,000 tonnes of ash underground. That's the same weight as 2 of La Tour Eiffel. Freiburg is considered a small, extremely efficient plant. The majority of heat-to-waste plants convert about a quarter of what's brought in. That's 1 million tonnes of ash that's buried under Swiss soils each year.
Then I first wish people sort more, because they have to understand that everything which arrived here is come to its end of life. Okay, we will make electricity and heating, but that's the worst we can do. The best is to reuse it as a new material, like for plastics or for metals.
When we conceal the waste, we forget we lead entangled lives. Ash is buried, and incineration plants are sold as neat, efficient, and industrial heat generation solutions. This is unlike smoking piles of rubbish, which we're quick to categorise as problematic. At least when you're next to a smoking pile of rubbish, you do not forget about your human and non-human neighbours. The way the waste collection system operates enables us to feel sure that when we throw things away, they're somehow going away. Burying millions of tons of toxic ash changes the very fabric of the landscape, and in the soil these changes are happening at a chemical and mineral level. The things we throw out are not just going away. Throwing is a delicate, careful practice in which the wet clay responds immediately to the hand that shapes it. Ceramics is a practice of preservation. It pulls material from the ground and freezes a shape in time. Working the raw material requires 2 hands, held together as if cradling a precious object. The life of the maker and the life of the object are entangled. These objects have all been glazed with an ash glaze. The ash used is from the burnt remains of the municipal waste of Bern and Freiburg. By diverting the ash from landfill to create something else, the life cycle of throwing things away is disrupted. Once fired, an object is ready to be glazed. Wood ash glazing originated in China in around 1500 BC, when wood ashes blew onto ceramic pieces during the firing process. It wasn't around until 400 years later that ash glazes were deliberately produced in a process that required collecting, drying, and burning different plants. The ash is combined with an element that behaves similarly to glass, a clay element that allows the molten liquid to stick on the surface of the ceramic, and finally a flux, which is an ingredient to lower the melt temperature of the recipe. Plants absorb material from the ground, and when they're burnt, they leave traces of these minerals in the ash. When that ash is used in a ceramic glaze, the objects become local to where the plants came from. Ash leaves traces of what was burnt. This is where the colour comes from. In the future, when plants eventually grow on top of this ash, if they're used in a glaze, they too will reflect the mineral content and heavy metals found in the buried ash. Are they still precious when glazed with objects we threw away, burnt, and hope to forget? Long-term thinking is an approach that encourages people to think about their actions in different timescales. With longer timeframes, we can begin to understand our impact now and in the future on the lives of others, human and non-human. It's a way to contextualize that we lead complex, entangled lives and encourages reflection on the idea that our actions are part of a cycle, rather than anything that resembles the end of a process. These are ceramic visualizations of ash. They are narrative objects, intimately connected with the waste, the maker, and the landscape. The act of preservation gives us a fragile, yet solid understanding that the things we throw away, in fact, very much stay with us.